let me show you how to have a garden without any access to land. Hi beautiful people, my name is Alora, and in today's video I will show you my garden that I have planted and maintained until this point on. My main reason for starting this was because I really wanted to have one, and I really enjoy gardening and nurturing plants, but I actually never had the opportunity to do so on my own land. Like, of course, all my grandparents and great-grandparents have land that they also plow and sow seeds on, and I also did a lot of work there when I was a small child and a teenager, but I really wanted to have my own that I had the control over, you know. It all started with me bringing a book from the library to my mom, and my mom read this book and found a package of seeds that somebody before us used as like a bookmark and just forgot in there. Mind you, this was like 2024 or so, or even before that, and on the package it says you can sow the seeds, like the seeds expire in 2026, January of 2026. So I was okay, January 2026 the latest I would plant these seeds, and these were like Rosenkohl, I'm not sure what they're called, and I wanted to plant these seeds because why would I let them expire? So I did, and those were also the first ones that I planted. I put them in a small box that I filled up with a little bit of soil, and this box actually used to have chocolate truffles in it, and I just ate the truffles and used it as planting box for seeds. And actually almost all of the seeds ended up terminating. Is that the term? I'm not sure what the correct term to use here is. In the end I had more plants than I knew what to do with, but I knew eventually I would manage to kill some of them on accident, so only the toughest ones survive. And I also bought a bunch of other seeds from the supermarket a few months later, or like a few weeks more like. And also I really wanted to have some celery, but I didn't want to buy any seeds or something. So I just wanted to reuse a plant that we bought from the supermarket, which was, in the beginning I had my doubts because all the roots had been cut off, and I wasn't sure. I put it in water, but I wasn't sure if it could regrow the roots from nothing. But after a few weeks in water, I kept changing the water every few days. It actually, like the celery plant, actually ended up regrowing like 2 or 3 small roots. After that it started rotting, so I decided to just plant it in the soil, and it worked. Like you can see today, as of the end of April, the celery is thriving. It has more roots than it knows what to do with. It is a full living plant that I can only kill if it doesn't get enough water, but every time it is thirsty it just lays flat like it's dying, you know, like the very dramatic plant. But I like it because it gives me a good idea of when it needs water and when it doesn't. I also wanted to start my herb garden. This meant that I wanted to have basilicum, and I also wanted to plant sage and parsley. Sage, parsley, basilicum and rosemary. The rosemary, I actually ended up buying a rosemary plant that I also needed to repot. And this plant, I thought this plant was going to die on me for real because it looked very bad when I bought it. But now it kind of lives. So some parts have dried off, and those parts I also cut off, but other parts are still alive, and I placed it in a place where it would get conveniently like as much sun as possible, as it is possible to get in Berlin. Like, there is not much sun here. I also try to give it like water every time I see the leaves start to get like when the leaves start to get very burnt, I give it like water, and it seems to be doing pretty well. The basilicum, here is me planting it, and here is the now. It is coming along quite nicely. I didn't expect it to behave so well, but well, it's basilicum. It will die off eventually after like 1 year anyway. But I'm very happy that I have it because my mom is obsessed with fresh basilicum. So remember that parsley? Yeah, I planted it in 3 different containers because I had so many seeds. And this parsley is supposed to live for more than 1 year, so it's supposed to last you kind of a lifetime, you know, long-term investment kind of. And I really had high hopes for it, but this parsley did absolutely nothing. I sowed the seeds in these 3 containers, and in only one of those containers I got 2 small little something that like resembles parsley. It's actually very weird. Also a humbling experience, if you know what I mean. But if these 2 survive, then I'm completely happy, because that means I will have 2 parsley plants for as long as they live. So also I sowed some spinach seeds. The spinach also failed spectacularly, so I have not expected to fail this badly. But the main problem was probably that I overwatered it the first week or so. In one pot the seeds started to really grow, but in the other pot it did nothing, like the seeds did nothing. And eventually in the other pot the seeds also died, because somehow, I don't know why, probably because I overwatered, the soil started to get moldy. And yeah, it was probably too much water, but it was very disgusting, and I ended up putting them outside even though it was way too cold. But I put them outside, and this is the only thing that remains right now. But these plants cannot be killed. They were outside in the below freezing, and they still live. These cannot be killed. The good thing is I have enough spinach to put in probably 1 small burger, but it is still more than I ever thought I get. So kind of a success in a fail, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so take a look at my garden. I also really wanted to repot this plant, this big rubber plant that I have in my room. It has been a real hindrance, because I reorganized my room, and that will be a video for, it comes out probably in 2 weeks, like a whole room makeover. But since then I found this perfect spot for my plant, but for that my plant would need to grow straight upwards instead of sideways. And it is not my fault, not entirely my fault, because the whole plant has been, I bought this plant as it is years ago, so there were 3 plants in one pot, and of course they end up growing sideways. I need to cut them back, and I need to repot them, because they definitely don't have enough space in that little tiny pot, and I don't have enough space in my room because of it. So, but I didn't end up making it to this video, because I still have to buy soil and new pots. Maybe I will make it by the time the room makeover video gets out. We'll see. So yeah, take a look at my garden again, and I am really thankful to have this garden. Of course, not everyone has the opportunity to do this, but also if you live in an apartment but really want to start your own garden, don't wait until you are old and don't have enough strength to maintain one, but have the land to do it. Just do it in pots. It is very different than gardening on land. I know, because I have gardened on free land in the gardens of my grandparents and great grandparents, and you have to pay attention to the water and watering much more than in the garden, because I remember my grandparents would just put loads of water on the plants and they would just be fine. When I put loads of water on my plants, they end up getting moldy, or it's too much water and they get all kinds of health issues. So because the excess water cannot just flow away and get absorbed from all kinds of other plants, it is very crucial that you pay attention to less watering than you would do it in a garden, in an actual garden. But yeah, the apartment is much greener now. I really enjoy it, and I hope to see you next week. I hope you enjoyed this video and my kind of unorganized voiceover. Keep shining, people. It was Alora speaking, and see you all next week. Bye!